O Mother Nui, stretch high above this valley. Your starry body is our glory. Then see the hawk of yonder Rahur quit, his fiery splendor, oh so mighty. He brings a light for all our weary souls. He makes the broken spirit whole.
So, imagine an ancient Egyptian healer screaming these like totally barbaric, meaningless words at a headless monster just to cure a sick patient.
Right. Yeah, very intense scene.
And then imagine a 19th century British occultist using those exact same words for, psychological enlightenment.
Welcome to the deep dive, everyone. Today we are looking into this fascinating stack of translated papyri, really tracing how a 4th century exorcism spell was accidentally recoded into a tool for self-discovery for you to use today.
Yeah, it is wild because we are essentially watching the fundamental purpose of a text from the Greek magical papyri completely mutate over, like 1,500 years.
Exactly. I mean, to me, it is less like a basic software update and more like taking a blueprint for a medieval torture device and then realizing, wait, if you slip this upside down, it is actually a perfectly engineered spine massager.
That is a surprisingly good analogy, actually.
Right. Like the mechanics are exactly the same, the words and rituals, but the intent shifts entirely from external violence to internal healing. So let's unpack the original code. Well, the original source code here dates back to late antiquity, and it functioned purely to cure demonic possession. It invokes this supreme cosmic entity called the Akephalos.
Which translates from the Greek as the headless one, right?
Yes, exactly, the headless one. And the text is just this wild syncretic mashup. I mean, the ancient magician claims to be Moses, invokes the Jewish god Yahweh, but then also calls upon Egyptian gods like Osiris.
And the description is so vivid, too. It talks about the god having sight in its feet, which draws directly on the blame, those mythical headless desert warriors with faces on their chests.
Yeah, ancient geographers were completely obsessed with them.
But here is where the logic just totally loses me.
Mm-hmm.
If you are an Asian healer treating a sick person, why in the world would you invoke a mutilated, fiery underworld monster? Aren't you just swapping a minor demon for a massive, terrifying one?
Well, you have to think about the ancient magical principle of fighting fire with fire. In that era, you didn't just politely ask a demon to leave.
I mean, yes, saying, please exit my patient probably doesn't work very well on demons.
Right, exactly. Instead, you channeled this massive, chaotic, overpowering force to essentially terrify the lesser demon right out of the patient's body. You are weaponizing the ultimate cosmic threat.
Okay, that makes sense in a terrifying way. But wait, I'm stuck on the timeline here. How does this monstrous exorcism spell from the desert become a 19th century pursuit of spiritual enlightenment? How do people like Aleister Crowley even find this?
So Victorian occultists were totally obsessed with synthesizing world religions, specifically through the lens of Kabbalah. When Crowley and his peers got English translations of these newly discovered papyri, they didn't take the Greek at face value.
You filtered it, right?
Yeah, they took the Greek word akephalos, meaning headless, and filtered it through the Kabbalistic Hebrew word rosh.
Wait, but why filter a Greek text through Hebrew? That just seems totally arbitrary.
To them, Hebrew was the ultimate divine language. It was like the root code of reality. And Rosh means head, but critically, it also means beginning. Think of Rosh Hashanah, the beginning of the year.
Oh, wow. Okay, so by applying that Kabbalistic logic to a Greek spell, an entity without a head becomes an entity without a beginning.
Exactly. So headless gets rebranded as bornless, eternal, without beginning.
That completely flips the script. You take this scary, physical, underworld monster and accidentally translate it into an eternal, supreme, divine force.
Right. It elevated the entity from a local desert threat to the uncreated universe itself. And Crowley actually weaponized the spell's mechanics to reach that state.
Using the Voces Magicae, right? Those long strings of just like meaningless, barbarous names.
Yes, exactly. He looked at those endless, incomprehensible vowels from the original ancient text.
Because think about it, for you listening, when was the last time you tried to quiet your own racing thoughts? It is nearly impossible. So Crowley realized chanting these exhausting, bizarre words over and over forces the brain's conscious ego to just shut down.
It is cognitive overload.
Nah.
By exhausting the intellect, the barrier between your conscious and unconscious mind collapses. This is the exact pivot where the magic shifts from the external physical world to internal psychology.
He wasn't trying to command spirits with a piece of physical papyrus anymore.
No, not at all. The goal became achieving what they called the knowledge and conversation of the holy guardian angel.
Which, despite the spooky name, isn't a literal external angel flying around. In this psychological framework, it represents your own unconscious true will.
Right, your ultimate unclouded self. He repurposed an ancient exorcism not to banish a literal demon, but to strip away the conscious ego so the unconscious mind could finally surface.
So we have literally traveled from an ancient desert healer screaming at a lesser demon to a modern psychological battle against your own ego.
Yeah, a literal exorcism entirely recoded into an intervention on the self.
Which leaves you, the listener, with a really wild thought to chew on today. If totally mistranslating an ancient word can accidentally create this profoundly effective tool for psychological enlightenment, does the original truth of a historical text even matter? Or is its real power just the meaning we project onto it when we rewrite the code?